crafty friends. Today is Paper Play Tuesday, and today we are making these fun and functional, easy money holders. We got some holidays coming up, maybe a birthday, and these are a sweet way to send somebody some money or hand it out, however you choose. So, if this sounds like something you would like to do, then come and craft with me.
In a fun junk journal dream, DJ's crafting grungy scenes. Hither and yon, where friends all meet. Paper glue and vintage treats.
All right, let's get to making my supplies. A ruler. I'll give you the necessary supplies first. You need a ruler. You need something to measure with. If you have a trimmer with a ruler, that's fine. We will need a ruler somewhere else, but you can also find other ways to measure. So anyway, my trimmer and scorer, I have scissors. If you don't have a trimmer and scorer, scissors and a bone folder are fine. I have a little pencil. I have my corner rounder, but you don't need it. So if you don't have it, don't worry. I have some sentiment stamps and my stamp pads, but again, if you don't have these, don't worry. You can just handwrite your sentiment. Cardstock, and then some glue. I have these cutting dies I'm going to use to cut out where the face of the money goes, but if you don't have these, I'll give you some options so you don't need them. And that's it. So let's get to making. It's super easy. I'll give you the measurements, which are so easy. All right, so first we're going to take our paper and put it on our trimmer so that the 8.5 by 11 or the short side is at the top. And if you, and we need money. Don't forget your money. I'm using an American US dollar. If your money might be different, so some of these measurements where we cut out the hole might be a little different. So keep that in mind as I progress here. And I'm using a US letter size, but again, you can adjust this to your A4 or whatever. The way that I figured out these measurements was I just kind of put my dollar bill where I wanted it and then measured how far I needed on each side. And so for the US dollar or any bill currency, we're going to score at 3, 6, and then you don't have to cut off at this point, but I like to cut this off. Let me just move my stamps out of the way. I'm going to cut this off at about 6 and I'm going to go 6 1/4 and cut. So I'll have an extra piece here I can use. So that just gives me like a hairline. I'm just going to use that for gluing. All right, we're going to turn our paper 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. We are going to score 1 inch. And then 7 1/4. So we're going to move our paper up to 7 1/4 and score. And then I like to cut this off at 7 3/4. You're not going to see this piece that I'm cutting off here. I'll show you. So it's just going to be the piece that we fold under. So if it's a little different than, 7 1/4, you want up to 8, that's fine. Nobody's going to see it. All right, so let me get rid of these scraps. That's it. That's all our scoring. We are going to have to cut some pieces out. So I'll show you what those are. Let me just take my bone folder and kind of make these pretty crisp. We can move these, right? See, sometimes your scoring board, and mine does it all the time, when you score, it kind of is off a little. So what I like to do is just hold this together really tight and pinch it and then come back in here and score so that it lines up. Because sometimes, I don't know, depends on the edge of the paper you're using. It depends on whether it's a Tuesday or a Friday. I don't know. And then we have these other scores. Just make everything nice and crisp. I am using a cardstock that I got from Hobby Lobby. They have these paper packs that have a variety of colors in them. I think I have one here. Hold on. They are the Paper Studio. I wait for them to go on sale. Wait for them to go on sale. So this, see, it has a variety of colors in it. So I like these. It says it is, does it say the weight? It doesn't. It just says heavyweight. So I don't know. It's like an index weight to me. All right, so these are our scores. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off all these little extra pieces here on the ends. Okay, so for the top, what I want to do is cut down below that score line. I just don't want my top flap to hang, so that's why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to cut right on the score line here. And then the same thing here. I'm just going to go down a little below that score line. And then right on the score line. And then on the bottom, I want to cut just above the score line. And then I'm going to angle this. So I'm going to kind of take this. This is the bottom flap. And I'm just going to angle it like that. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. And then again, we're going to cut right above that score line. And that's really just so that stuff doesn't hang and get caught when we fold it up. Okay. And so you can imagine now this is going to do this and this and this, and then this will be our flap to keep it closed. So for this flap, I do like to round my corners, but this is why I said you don't need a corner rounder. You can just use your scissors. You can use a little cup or something to kind of give yourself a rounded edge and then just cut that out. But since I have it, I am going to use it like so. Get all these bits out of the way. All right, so that's our paper. And now we have to put the space for where the head is going to go. And so the measurements I figured out for the dollar bill are 2.5 and 4.25. And so I measure it from the short flap end. So this flap here, if I measure over, sorry for any glare, and I'm on the inside of my envelope. We want to mark only the inside. So I'm going to go to 2.5 and then 4.25. Okay. And so that pretty much where the dollar bill will fall. See how his head is showing there? Now, if you don't want to, kind of cut out the center, another thing you can do is line this up and just cut out with a hole punch right on that dollar. So you can kind of come in here and just cut out where you're seeing the dollar in the corner of your bill, because on the US currency, it's in the corners. So you can kind of cut that section out if you want. If you don't have a hole punch, you can just kind of draw a square and cut that out. If maybe you have a heart-shaped punch, that would be fun. So you could do something like that, but I'm going to put mine straight in the middle. And the reason that I have this specific measurement in the center is because A, it fits the dollar bill, but rather than go any larger is because I'm going to fold this up so I can fit it through my die cutting machine. Okay, so this is going to go there. And I am just going to pull out my Big Shot, which is old and crotchety, kind of like me. Let me do it this way. And I have my magnetic back mat from scrapbook.com. You guys recommended this a little while ago and I got one and I love it. Thank you. This project was the first one I really used it on. I made one of these for my niece and I loved it. So I wanted to show you guys. All right, so we're going to fold these sides in so that it will fit right in there. And then I'm just going to take my die and kind of line it up here in the center where I want it. And add my plate. Now you can flip this around if you don't want to hold the flaps down. Yep, I moved it. It's fine. All right, and I'll just feed this through. All right, so we have that. Get this out of the way. and save this piece because we are going to use it. And that's what we have. So when we put our money in, it's going to show through that little window. How fun is that? Like I said, if you have different currency, you're going to want to figure that out. And so I'm going to stamp this with a fun background stamp before I fold it all up, because I want to have like a fun design on the front. So I did that in the last one. Let's see. I have a green somewhere. Here we go. But you could use black or whatever colors you have. I have this big, gigantic script block that I've had for a while. Does it have a mark? Hobby Lobby. I didn't pay that at all. But anyway, so we're gonna stamp. This is the flap that we're gonna see, so I'm gonna stamp that. And let's see. I guess I'll put a little more. Like so. We can do this side too. Actually, this side doesn't matter. We're gonna put a card there. So stamped. You can ink around if you're an inker. I'm gonna glue mine up. Super easy, right? Super, super duper easy. Now, if you want, you don't want to see this color through, you can get some coordinating paper. I have a 6x6 pad here. Let's see if there's anything in here I want maybe to throw in there. This is a cool pad. This is Romance Novel. I wish I could find this again. Who makes this? Prima. This is a good one. I hoard it. Maybe we can use the roses, right? That would be fun. So you're only going to see a little piece of it. You can use your scraps too. You obviously could fill the whole background if you want. But I'm just going to take a little bit off. And just glue that on the inside here. We want to make sure it's not going to inhibit our fold, which I'm already doing. So cut a little more off of that. Okay, we want to see it through, but we don't want it to inhibit our fold. And you can choose to, you're going to see, depending on what die you use here, and this may bother you a lot, so I'll mention it. When you close this up, you might see a hair of this, depending on how wide it is, through your window. And if you don't want to see that, then adjust this after you die cut it so that once you glue it, you won't see that, okay? And now we have that, we can glue up the rest. So we have this flap and this flap. I do these first. I feel like I'm off screen no matter what I do. All right, and then I'm just going to put a little glue on this one. Okay, and we're going to glue these two, and then we're going to pull this one over and glue it. And again, you may want to adjust. I can see that when I did that second score, it didn't really hold. So we'll come back in here and make sure everything's lined up here on the edge. Okay, and then just make sure you're not gluing your envelope closed. Sometimes when you have a little flap like that, the glue will seep out into your envelope. So just make sure it's fully dry. All right, and so if we take our numero uno, dollaro, and we throw it in here, then you will see it through the window. Hold on, because it's getting stuck on that little flap on the bottom. There we go. Okay, and so again, if you want, you can punch out the side or whatever. I think I stamped this upside down. Nobody will notice. Only me. All right, and so then I told you not to throw these out. I think I have one in another color I'm going to grab. Yeah, I do. I have one in pink. So I have one that I used on the last one. So I'm just going to take this and stamp my sentiment on it in black. This one says, "Happy birthday to you." The one that I gave my niece. It was her birthday, but I gave her all the hugs. This is a fun set. I think this was Amazon, and if I can find it, I'll send you the link, or I'll put it in my Amazon shop. All right, and then we're just going to line this up. You do your stamps the way you love to do them. Happy birthday to you. And then we can embellish this with a little fun stuff. So let's see what I have. I have some pieces here from the paper studio, so these are always fun. I have this little red rose, which seems to go with these little red roses, so we're going to glue that on there. Let's see, what way can I put it so that I don't have any overhang. I have a little overhang here. I don't mind that. I just don't want to glue over there. Like so. You can put a little butterfly on the other side like I did on the other one. What do you? I wish they had smaller birdies in this pack. Come on, butterfly. No? I thought I had a small one. Ah, here we go. I'm going to do this little one. Looks more like a moth to me, but who knows? So something like that, just to give it a little decoration. If you want and you have nesting dies kind of like this and it works, you can cut out a frame and put it around there, which is what I did for hers. Let that dry. I'm going to flip this over, and on this side, we want to go and grab our 6x6 pads or a piece of paper that is about 6 inches wide by 6 inches tall. Oop, I put them in backwards. Hold on. There we go. And so I'm going to use the same paper pad by Prima. And I'm just going to get, I want the bottom half is what we're going to see. So whatever's at the bottom of your pad is just what you're going to see, or paper. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it in half. And this is going to become our card on the back of our envelope. How cool is that? Super easy, right? So this is this way. I'm just going to glue this right down there. And then we can write a sentiment inside this. Now, do you have to do this? No, you can write your sentiment right on the back if you want. So you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to use up your papers if you don't want to. And then, so this just flips up. You can write your sentiment. We'll put this down. We'll flip this over. I'll take my sentiment. I will put it on this side. You can put it anywhere. You can put it here. How fun is that? And then I have these cute little paper clips that have a little heart on them. If I can find them, I'll let you know the link, but I have no idea. I've had them for a while. And then I will do something like that. You can put it on the front side too. If all you have is a regular paper clip, take a little piece of thread or yarn or twine or ribbon and, you know, kind of tie a knot there and put it through, and that'll be a cute little accent too. So that's it, guys. That is the make. This is the one that I did earlier, and we'll just take and put our fun little moolah in there. Let's put it in this one because that one was catching. I don't know why. Our little dollar bill, dollar bill in there. Come on, work with me. Close this up. This one I have on this side. And this one. Oop, I smudged it. Oh well, don't smudge yours. Like so. There we go. How fun is that? So that's our make today. I hope you make a lot of them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if you're going to make a bunch of these. You can make them for the holidays. You can make them for birthdays. You can make them really quick and just have a bunch kind of sitting around. If you are like my mother-in-law and you love to give the kids running money, as she calls it, then these make great ways to hand that out to the kids. And it's fun because they get to see what it is inside. But if you want to surprise them, you don't even have to cut that out. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this Paper Play Tuesday, and I'll see you soon. Bye!